Kamala Harris did something that no politician has done ever. She didn't just beat him, she humiliated him. She humiliated him. He has been the Pac-Man of American politics. He has eaten up, gobbled up politicians, spit them out, went through 16 Republican governors and senators like it was nothing. And even when he does badly, he usually has something he can point to. She whooped him so badly that I think he's literally afraid to come back. And so now, I agree, the last 20 minutes, she could have stopped with the elder abuse at that point and then turned more to her program. I wish that she had, but she's got plenty of time now. And now the funk is off. I think she's going to do a bunch of interviews. I want her to do interviews. I agree with you. She needs to get her program defined, but she first had to demonstrate this is a woman who can deal with any man, Putin, Donald Trump, or anybody else, and she established that.
She is the worst poll.
So, folks, before we get to Ryan's response, let's just see Van Jones. See, this has been the political narrative. This has been the pundit narrative. This has been the legacy media narrative, that she just whooped his ass, right? Kamala Harris just whooped Donald Trump's ass, right? This is what you're getting from the legacy media. This is what you're getting from the likes of CNN. This is what you're getting from Van Jones. Well, I would like to basically ask Van Jones and others, if she whooped Donald Trump in this debate, if she got her points across, if she convinced undecided, middle of the roads, independents, that's what she needs to do, right? Because everybody knows they're in their corners. Those that support Trump said he won. Those that support Harris said she won. What about those precious people, the undecideds, in the middle, moderates, independents, whatever you want to call them? What about them? Let's take a look. And please, Van Jones, please, CNN, please, anybody in the mainstream legacy media, if she won, explain these numbers to me.
Donald Trump has no plan for you. And when you look at his economic plan, it's all about tax breaks for the richest people. I am offering what I describe as an opportunity economy, and the best economists in our country, if not the world, have reviewed our relative plans for the future of America.
Explain this to me, Van Jones. Please explain this to me. Democrats going up, independents in yellow, Republicans in red. Why is it that the independents are not buying her bullshit? They are absolutely basically saying, we don't agree with you. You're lying. You're full of crap. They're actually going below the Republican line. Explain that. If she really cooked him in this debate, if she really won the debate, which is, the narrative. I don't care who won the debate. As long as I win the independents, that's all I care about. Donald Trump is winning the independents. Van Jones, explain that to us, please. Let's continue.
What Goldman Sachs has said is that Donald Trump's plan would make the economy worse. Mine would strengthen the economy. What the Wharton School has...
Goldman Sachs has refuted that as an outright lie. They have not said they've endorsed Kamala Harris's plan.
...said is Donald Trump's plan would actually explode the deficit. 16 Nobel laureates have described his economic plan as something that would increase inflation and by the middle of next year would invite a recession.
It's a great plan. It's a plan that's going to bring up our worth, our value as a country. It's going to make people want to be able to go and work.
Now look at this.
Create jobs and create a lot of good, solid money for our country.
Look what's happening here. Van Jones. Explain this, Van Jones.
She copied Biden's plan, and it's like 4 sentences, like run, spot, run. 4 sentences that are just, we'll try and lower.
Look at this, folks. Trump's talking about his plan. Did he get his point across? I think he did. Look at these independent lines going up. Look at them basically mirroring the Republican lines. Democrats, what'd you expect? They're going to be sour. They're going to be down on Donald Trump because they don't know any better. They're just, I guess you could say illiterate in terms of economic policies, most of the Democrats, because they want the same thing that's going. Their pocketbooks are hurting, but we're going to want more of the same. So explain this to me, Van Jones. Please, anybody out there, explain this. If you really won the debate, did you win over the independents? I don't think so. So I think we pretty much debunked, and there's more of those, folks. I could go on for another 10, 15 minutes, and we'll play some of those at the end, but I want to get back to Ryan and his response to Van Jones and whatever. But as you said, we pretty much refuted this whole narrative that, Harris won. Let's go to Ryan and see what he has to say right now.
Else, and she established that.
She is the worst polling Democrat against Donald Trump in history on national polls. No one is performing worse than her. No one's performing worse than her among blacks, among Hispanics, the worst performing Democrat in modern history among those demographics, worst performing polling-wise among Jews. She is losing key factions of the Democratic base. Muslim voters, she's at under 50, she's at 52% in the latest CAIR poll among black Muslims. She is not doing well.
We're still neck and neck.
Well, let me ask this question. What makes you so sure she's going to define this platform even further? Because what seems to be clear on all sides in this is nobody thinks the details matter, right? Trump certainly doesn't think the details matter. Details ain't really his bag. That's not what he's going for. There's been plenty of opportunity for her to spell things out with far more detail, and I think they've drawn the conclusion ultimately. For who? For what? Let him crash out. Like, they put him on TV and just like, watch this. I can make this old man lose his mind. And she did it. And then so what does it matter what the details are? I think, to your point, it matters to a degree. There are people that have things that they want to hear. But I think
So, same thing with this guy right here, right? Same thing. He doesn't understand it either. He's saying, let this old man go on there. Let him keep talking. Let him keep rambling. Let him stew in his own pot, so to speak. Just let him fizzle out. Let him burn, right? Because nobody's listening to him. Really? No one's listening to him? How about we check this out? Let's check out what the independents think about the values, that she still has values, Kamala Harris, that her values haven't changed. And let's think in terms of Pennsylvania. What did they think about her in terms of the fracking question, right? Let's just see who won the debate on that.
My values have not changed, and I'm going to discuss at least every point that you've made. But in particular, let's talk about fracking because we're here in Pennsylvania. I made that very clear in 2020. I will not ban fracking.
That's a complete lie.
Fracking as Vice President of the United States, and in fact, I was the tie-breaking vote on.
Look, folks, over here, if she won the debate, I'd like to ask that gentleman again who was answering in response to Ryan, basically saying, let the old man dig his own grave, right? The independents are going lower than the Republicans on this. They don't believe a word of her bullshit. They don't believe a word. They know that she's lying her ass off. They all know that. Even the Democrats are flatlining over here, folks. But the independents are basically saying, we are with the Republicans on this. This is devastating, devastating. Let's continue.
On the Inflation Reduction Act, which opened new leases for fracking. My position is that we have got to invest in diverse sources of energy so we reduce our reliance on foreign oil.
Defund the police. She's been against that forever. She gave all that stuff up.
Safety and security,
wrongly,
folks.
Very horribly. And everybody's laughing at it, okay? They're all laughing at it. She gave up at least 12 and probably 14 or 15 different policies. Like,
does this look like Trump is losing?
Defund the police. In Minnesota, she went out.
Look at her face over there. She knows she's getting pummeled.
Please. Does that sound familiar? She went out.
Folks, that's the line right there. That is the line right there. Let's hear that again. That's the line right there. Okay, let's go back. We're going to go back. Listen for it again. She was looking for that viral moment, right? Mr. Pence, I'm speaking. Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking. Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking. She wanted that old lady cackle voice. as if, you're interrupting a woman, and Trump just beat her to the punch. That was the line of the debate. But you don't hear about that as much on the mainstream media, do you? No, of course not. Can you imagine if she was able to get in a line like that, what the lead-in every day would have been? What lead-in lines are they using for Kamala Harris? Nothing, because they know that there was nothing there for her. Listen to this again, folks.
He's like, she was big on defund the police. In Minnesota, she went out. Wait a minute, I'm talking now. If you don't mind, please. Does that sound familiar? She went
Look
out,
at the lines, folks.
She went out in Minnesota and wanted to let criminals that killed people, that burned down Minneapolis, she went out and raised money to get them out of jail. She did things that nobody would ever think of. Now she wants to do transgender operations on illegal aliens that are in prison. This is a radical left liberal that would do this. She wants to confiscate your guns, and she will never allow fracking in Pennsylvania. If she won the election, fracking in Pennsylvania...
Folks, he got his points across. 90-minute debate. He's not going to be on point every time. So he took some time off, okay, to talk about crowd sizes. So he took some time off to talk about something else. Does this, when he made his points and he was spot on, where were the people that you're talking to, the undecideds, the independents, the moderates? Where are those people? Are you effectively getting your message across to them? Oh, you bet he was. So again, I asked Van Jones and the other gentleman on there, where's your proof? Just because everybody says it, take a look at what are the voters telling you. They are shouting at the top of their lungs. They're using their dials. They're telling you with emotion, saying that we know that President Trump is talking the truth and we are siding. What he's saying is resonating with us. Let's get back to more of the clip with Van Jones and Ryan. Let's do that right now.
The strategy and the conclusion that seems to have been drawn is if we just keep giving him open shots, he's going to miss them all. And we're just going to keep letting him shoot.
But you look at fracking in Pennsylvania, you look at Israel-Palestinian people issue in Michigan, you look at so many of these specific issues that I think affect a certain demographic within the most important swing states that ultimately this election will come down to. And those are the people she has to win, and I'm not convinced that she's winning them right now.
I'd love her to talk more about fracking for a couple of reasons, and I'm glad we have time to talk about this stuff. Kamala Harris needs fracking. She needs fracking. The idea that they spent 4 years, they did nothing to stop fracking, that idea she would stop it now is literally ludicrous. Why does she need it? Fracking is giving us a geopolitical weapon against Putin. The reason that we've been able to hold the European coalition together is because when Putin said, if you back Ukraine, I'm going to cut gas off to Europe. I'm going to freeze Europeans in their beds. The United States said, no, you're not. You know why? We are now the biggest exporter of natural gas in the world. We sent liquid natural gas to Ukraine. And where did it come from? It came from fracking.
Who do you want to thank for that, Van Jones, VJ? That was because energy exports, for the very first time, the United States became the #1 exporter of energy, liquid natural gas, oil, to the rest of the world. More than Saudi Arabia, more than Venezuela. I mean, we were at the top. What did the first thing the Biden administration do? Cut every policy that President Trump put in place, regulations up the ass for everybody else. Yes, we are still doing it, but it is so much. Look at gasoline prices. They've doubled under this regime. They've doubled under this administration. Oil prices have gone up. Who does that help? The Saudis, our enemies, because now when they're selling the oil on the market, they're making more money. So Van Jones is saying, in terms of what Trump did, are you basically agreeing with the policy that we need fracking? Oh, I bet you the climate alarmists are going to come after you now, Van Jones. You better be careful. Greta Thunberg is going to be after you. You're going to be hearing from it.
In Pennsylvania. So Pennsylvania fracking is key to our geopolitical strategy. So if you ever want to have a conversation, I don't trust her, she's going to do, first of all, for 4 years, she didn't do anything against fracking. Why? The entire Democratic Party shut up about fracking. Why? Not for this election, but because that's how we're going to beat Putin.
Right, but okay, but at 60 years old, which is about what she is, she had a transformational life experience, apparently, where in 1,000 days, she has changed from a Bernie Sanders Democrat to a pro-choice Bush Democrat. She has abandoned almost every position, not just on fracking, on reparations for the descendants of slaves. She was gung-ho for a multi-trillion-dollar policy, never mentions it. She's completely against it. Obviously, the transgender illegal aliens in prison, which she did sit there and say that she was for. She was against ICE. She was for open borders, defund the police.
But on fracking specifically, do you believe that she has really convinced these voters in Pennsylvania? I was just in Pennsylvania.
This is to Bomani's point. I mean, do the details matter? And if they do, it should play into Trump's hands. But it seems like Trump is not even capable of working on that terrain. Even
We just talked about this. We literally just talked about this. That Trump is not on the terrain? That he's not even there? On fracking, did you see the dials with the independents intertwined with the Republicans? Safety and security intertwined. Economic plan, they were basically lockstep with the Republicans. Inflation, they knew everything, okay, that Kamala was saying. They went in divergent ways. The Democrats loved what Kamala was saying. Republicans and independents at every single issue that was out there. Trump got his point across, no doubt about it. The demographics, as they were talking about in terms of that, Latinos, Hispanics, blacks, Muslims voters, either they are shunning away from Kamala Harris, or some of them are shifting towards Donald Trump, or perhaps third-party candidates. Remember now that Jill Stein was not, and the Green Party were not allowed to be on the ballots in 2020 election, right? They stopped them in their terms of that. That was election interference of the highest order. The Supreme Courts of these individual states would not allow them to be there. They are there now. Jill Stein is in every swing state. RFK Jr. has been allowed to take his name off the ballots. So this is going to help Trump immensely. Even a few percentage points taken away by those that might have been voting. Michigan, this is going to be huge, folks. The abandoned Harris coalition, the uncommitted. They don't vote fine. They vote third party, Cornel West, Jill Stein. If they go in that direction, wonderful. If they decide to go for Trump, even better. If they decide to stay home, even better. Anyways, folks, we appreciate you taking the time to watch. You've been watching the Dr. Nasser Shake Show. I've been your host. My name is Dr. Nasser. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel, like, share, and follow us. Let us know what you think. Our video links are above and below. My final thought is always, when you're right, you're right. And when you're left, you're wrong. Until next time, folks, take care and stay safe.